in my hand, gently resting in the sand. Sunshine on my face makes me feel fine. Surrounded by a few good friends, sharing times with all will never end. Someday soon we'll all meet up again. 'Cause the sun comes up and it fades away. Every night brings a brand new day, another chance to start again. And I leave my troubles in the past, but sometimes life moves way too fast. So let's hold on to the good times while we can. How long it lasts doesn't matter when there's sand on the bottom of my glass. I remember the night I met her. I swore I could never forget her, but now I can't even remember her last name. There have been some nights that I've forgotten. Somewhere we've done a lot of talking, some that seem to come out of a dream. There have been so many times I laughed so hard until I cried, drinking baby years all night long. 'Cause the sun comes up and it fades away. Every night brings a brand new day, another chance to start again. And I leave my troubles in the past, but sometimes life moves way too fast. So let's hold on to the good times while we can. How long it lasts doesn't matter when there's sand on the bottom of my glass. Never saying goodbye, just see you in a little while. So I always find my way back here again. On the beach I'll find my spot and sit there with my sandy cup filled up with all my sun comes up and it fades away. Every night brings a brand new day, another chance to start again. And I leave my troubles in the past, but sometimes life moves way too fast. So let's hold on to the good times while we can. How long it lasts doesn't matter when there's sand on the bottom of my glass. On the bottom of my glass. Yeah.
You're listening to the Jams and Coffee Morning Show with your host, Brad Brock.
to the Jams and Coffee morning program here on YouTube, Facebook, or JNC Radio. Boy, if my head wasn't connected this morning, it would roll away from me. Never to be seen again. But it is Friday, so that's my excuse, is in fact that it is Friday. And throwing caution to the wind. I hope everybody's enjoying their morning so far. Has a nice coffee. I'm probably going to need 6 or 7 or 17 of these to get back on par. But I thank you so much for joining me this morning. Oh, man. Friday again. Hope everybody has fun weekend plans. If you're here on the Treasure Coast, the weather should be clearing up over the weekend. There's a weak cold front coming through. Not really going to do much to the temperatures, but it is pushing through some showers and storms that we're going to get this afternoon. This morning, the temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s under partly cloudy skies. And as I mentioned, moving into this afternoon, the highs are going to go into the low to mid 80s with some showers and storms as that front comes on through. And tonight, the lows will be in the mid to upper 70s with a few isolated showers and storms. But moving into the weekend, the rain chances are going to plummet. And it should actually be a pretty nice weekend. So a good weekend to get out there and do stuff. Get out there and do some stuff. We have some national days this 14th of October. There wasn't really a whole lot going on today. Like, there's not a lot of birthdays, there's not a lot of national days, and there wasn't a whole lot of news. But we have some interesting stuff to talk about. Some fun stuff. Some fun, a little bit scary, but some fun stuff overall. In our National Day world today, we have two that go together pretty well. It's a National Dessert Day, where people around the country indulge. Celebrated by way of the local bakery, grandma's house, or chocolate shop. Desserts include candies, pies, ice cream, fruits, cookies, pastries, cobblers, and donuts, too. So get out there and satisfy your sweet tooth, because it's also National Real Sugar Day. Somehow this seems like it might have been concocted by Big Sugar, but who's counting? October 14th is National Real Sugar Day, and we celebrate the people who harvest sugar crops, learn about its origins. Also learn how to balance a healthy diet while enjoying food made with real sugar. Today we dedicate the entire day to celebrating the gold standard of sweetness on National Real Sugar Day. In a March 2021 survey, 1,500 U.S. consumers were asked to name any ingredients that make food or beverages more enjoyable to eat or drink. And, of course, sugar came in as the number one ingredient. Not only does real sugar provide our food with amazing flavor, aroma, color, and texture, it also is available to anyone who wants to make their life just a little sweeter. The real sugar we stock in our pantries and use in many of our favorite recipes is grown by, sugar beet and sugar cane farmers across the United States. Sugar is a simple carbohydrate that provides energy when you need it. In fact, glucose is the building block of most carbohydrates and is a key fuel source for the body. In addition, real sugar is essential for the brain, muscles, and other organs to properly function. So, how about that? We thought all it did was rot your teeth. Serves a purpose. In moderation, I'm sure. You remember a sugar story that I have to share because it was... Have you ever had one of those life-changing moments where you had done something the same way for so long and then somebody recommended you do it a different way and it was life-altering? Completely changed or elevated the experience? Well, that's how my life and relationship was with Kool-Aid. That's right. Kool-Aid. Growing up, I didn't particularly like Kool-Aid. I thought it was bland and really lacked flavor of any kind. But that was because I did not know that you had to shake the Kool-Aid container before you poured yourself a nice cold glass. Nope. Growing up, my entire childhood, most of it, was pouring the Kool-Aid while the sugar had all settled at the bottom of the Kool-Aid container. I was just getting the bland, terrible, not sweet fruit flavored drink, perhaps. And somebody was like, no, man, you have to shake up the container or stir it up before you pour the glasses. And I did. And life-changing. It was life-altering. I had no idea what I had been missing from my Kool-Aid. And there you go. And that's the story. So if you're out there and you don't understand why your Kool-Aid sucks, stir it up before you pour it. I may have been the only idiot that didn't know to do that, but pass that knowledge along to any who will listen. And it's incredible. The amount of sugar that goes into Kool-Aid to make it sweet is really eye-popping. So, Philip hit us with our irrelevant weather report for Tennessee. He said this morning the highs are in the 40s there. Or the morning is high 40s, and the highs are going into the 70s and low 80s moving into the afternoon. Clear and sunny skies expected. That's good. It's got to soak up some of that water you guys got over the last couple of days there. Partly cloudy tomorrow, he said, and Sunday with some chance of rain around the area. And a cold front coming through with the highs expected to be around 56. 56, to me, it's cold, but it's comfortable. He also said they have wind warnings going out today. Gusty winds of north middle Tennessee. Careful out there. Yeah, 56 is a great temperature. You know, we get that here in Florida in the middle of our winter, you know. But it's so nice to, like, throw on a hoodie. I still wear flip-flops, if shoes at all. You know, and it's just nice to, like, go outside or even just, like, go down and check the mail. And it's just nice to be in that brisk air we learn to love and appreciate here. Philip, no, you never wear socks with flip-flops, man. It's a cardinal sin. You don't do it. Some people do. But I refuse. It's ridiculous. I mean, you know, especially if you go out into public. God, it's how embarrassing. Well, we see it all the time. While it's admonished, it's not necessarily uncommon to see it happening out and about there. But that's okay. So real sugar, back to real sugar anyway. You got to shake up your Kool-Aid, man. You got to shake it up, and it's delicious. Can't believe I ruined Kool-Aid for myself for so many years. And finally, it's Be Bald and Be Free Day. My kind of day. On October 14th, we celebrate the Naked Crown. Sometimes the day is referred to as Bald and Free Day. But here we are. The Bear Noggins take the spotlight during this holiday. It recognizes the beauty of a naked scalp. Baldness, of course, comes in several forms. Partial or total. Sometimes a chrome dome is by choice, and other times it comes by naturally. Whether your chrome dome is the result of hair loss or shaving your head, this National Day celebrates you. Not everyone goes bald from traditional aging and hair loss. Some lose their hair from medical treatments, making this observant extra special for those individuals. So how do we observe Be Bald and Be Free Day? Well, naturally, you want to share your bald selfies with us on social media. The day offers an opportunity to support those going through treatments as well. Definitely If you do post a bald Selvia, hashtag be bald and be free day. Good times, good times. I have been losing my hair since I was like 18 years old. And that was a terrible time for me, like it's a pretty, not a great time to go through, the end of your teens, your 20s with thinning hair. But now well deep into my 30s, I feel like I've grown into it. I still enjoy hats, but not because I need to cover up my dome, because I choose to. But yeah, now that my hair is turning gray and I'm appearing older, I've grown into it. So very exciting stuff. We have a holiday. So those are your national days, of course. As always, if I've missed one or something else that you can think of, I'd love to hear about it. You can drop me a text in the chats and comments, or you can give me a shout on the JNC hotline, 772-888-1596. Follow the prompts. It'll get you on the air. What else is going on? Guess we'll jump into one story here, and then we'll take a little music break. I do have a song to premiere, a brand new song that just dropped last night, so we'll get into that. But here's another story. We like talking about science and brain neurons and all and pig hearts and things like that. So here's just another example of scientists making strides here. So the story and this is the government getting involved as well. The CIA is funding research into resurrecting extinct animals, including, of course, the woolly mammoth and the tiger-like thylacine, according to news reports. Via a venture capital investment firm called In-Q-Tel. Oh, no, Via. That's not the name of the company. Via a venture capital investment firm called In-Q-Tel, which the CIA funds. The American Intelligence Agency has pledged money to the Texas-based tech company Colossal Biosciences. According to Colossal's website, the company's goal is to see the woolly mammoth thunder upon the tundra once again. Seems like a good idea. Of course, they're doing that through the use of genetic engineering. And that is using technology to edit an organism's DNA. What could possibly go wrong? Colossal has also stated an interest in resurrecting the extinct thylacine, or Tasmanian tiger, a wolf-like marsupial that went extinct in the 1930s, as well as the extinct dodo bird. For their part, the CIA is obviously less interested in the thundering mammoths and roaring lions and tigers than it is in the underlying genetic engineering technology that Colossal intends to develop. According to an In-Q-Tel blog post, strategically, it's less about the mammoths and more about the capability. One of the senior officials wrote there, "De-extinction may sound like science fiction, and to an extent it is. There's no way to bring back the woolly mammoth as it was 10,000 years ago. However, by using DNA editing tools, scientists can insert cold-resistant characteristics into the DNA sequences of modern elephants, making them genetically similar to woolly mammoths. The resulting creature wouldn't be a mammoth per se. Rather, it would be a proxy animal that's more like an elephant with mammoth-like characteristics." Being bamboozled, folks. The foundation of this process is gene editing. It's a method called CRISPR, C-R-I-S-P-R. And it's genetic scissors that scientists can use to cut, paste, and replace specific gene sequences into an organism's DNA. Several of the researchers behind CRISPR won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Great. According to the In-Q-Tel blog post, investing in this project will help the U.S. government to set the ethical as well as technological standards for genetic engineering technology, and keep the U.S. a step ahead of competing nations that may also be interested in reading, writing, and altering genetic codes. Jordan chimed in. She said, "We just love playing God, don't we?" It's wild. Not everyone, of course, and as you shouldn't be, not everyone is so optimistic about using genetic engineering tools to revive extinct animals. Critics have warned that even if a company is able to engineer a healthy proxy mammoth, the mammoth's natural habitat no longer exists. Even if it did, genetic code cannot teach an animal how to thrive in an unfamiliar ecosystem, according to Gizmodo. Some scientists also urge that money spent on de-extinction projects could go much further if applied to the conservation of current living animals. So we may or may not see the woolly mammoth roaming the earth once again. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Listen, guys, I'm going to take a musical break. As I mentioned, I had to stretch these stories out just a little bit because there's not a whole lot going on out there. But this is a brand new song from my good buddy Bob Green. This is a Halloween-themed song, so it's a spooky song that you're hearing possibly. Well, you guys are probably definitely hearing it for the first time here, but this just dropped at midnight this morning, so it's fresh cut right here on Jams and Coffee. I appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy this tune. We'll be right back. I didn't realize there was another audio source playing, guys. I'm going to restart that song because it deserves it. Thanks, Philip, for chiming in and letting me know. I didn't realize there was other sound going. I didn't hear it. We're going to try that again. Here's Bob Green's Run. Let's try it again.
A Friday night down on Crystal Lake. You look so fine. We should slip away to somewhere private where no one can see. It's somewhere quiet where they can hear our screams as we run, away from the one who walks slowly. Just run, oh baby, run, and pray he don't find you scared. scared for you, dear. 'Cause I'll tear you apart, so please just roll.
Was a brand new one from Bob Green called Run. Got a whole new record dropping pretty soon with all kinds of great new tunes on it. Very excited to see what Bob's got to bring to the table. You can check that song out on Spotify, Bob Green. We are back, Jams and Coffee in the Morning. I appreciate you tuning in with me this morning. Hope everybody is enjoying their Friday morning so far. I'm watching the chats and comments, so if you had anything to add or you just want to heckle me, I'm all for that as well. So feel free to chime in. Another story here. We have got some sports news and interesting story in the sports world. The Kansas City, wow, that's a Freudian slip if I've ever heard one. Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce scored 4 touchdowns in a recent football game. They set a franchise and Monday Night Football record with 4 touchdowns in the 30-29 win against the Raiders on Monday night. And he got a very special words of wisdom and congratulations from another legendary football player who scored 4 touchdowns in one game. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you know, we're talking about love, and marriage, and shoes, and, of course, scoring touchdowns. Al Bundy. That's who we're talking about, a married with children character who famously scored 4 touchdowns in a single game for Polk High School in Chicago during the equally fictitious 1996 City Championship. He's an expert on all 4 topics, of course. So it's no surprise that Al Bundy congratulated Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce for matching his feat on Monday Night Football. And I have video of it. So here we go. This is Al Bundy congratulating Travis Kelce on 4 touchdowns in one game. Here we go.
Hey, Travis. Guy I know knows a guy, and he wanted to send you a message.
Travis, Al Bundy here. Just want to congratulate you on the 4 touchdowns in one game last night, tying my record that I never thought would be broached when I scored 4 in 1966 against Andrew Johnson High School against my arch rival, spare tire Bubba Dixon. Anyway, after that, as you probably know, I've had great successes. I'm living in a trailer now, unfortunately, down by the river. Good luck.
Al Bundy. 4 touchdowns in one game for Polkai. Kelsey responded, he said, "You can't make this stuff up," he said via Instagram. "Love it when life comes full circle." And, of course, Eric Stone Street, who pulled that all together, he said, "Thanks for knowing a guy." Kelsey actually referred to himself as a modern-day Al Bundy in another post. So, always fun when pop culture comes together to make cool things happen. Al Bundy back at it. I'd love to see a Married with Children reboot, or maybe not a reboot, but maybe like a sequel, or I don't know, bring them back for a reunion special. And Jordan said, "Oh my God, I got to send that to her dad." Sure to appreciate it, Jordan. Jordan's father, of course, a football legend himself. That's a story for another time. A few months ago, God, is that weird to say now? A few months ago on the show, we were talking about a forged Galileo manuscript. It was like at a university on display, and it had been debunked as authentic, much to the dismay of the university. But this has led people to discover something else. So the forged Galileo manuscript actually led experts to a controversial book that he secretly wrote. Revelation in August that a manuscript attributed to Galileo Galilei was a forgery has led to the discovery of a different book that celebrated the Italian astronomer. I'm sorry. To a different book that the celebrated Italian astronomer actually did write, but under a pseudonym. According to a new investigation, previously unpublished notes by Galileo that were checked in the aftermath of the forgery's discovery indicate that he was the true author of a treatise titled the Considerazioni Astronomici di Alimberto Mari. Forgive my Italian. I'm only good at making pasta. Oh, now they tell me. That's Italian, of course. It's some abomination of Italian for astronomical considerations of Alimberto Mari. And that was published in 1604 when they couldn't just write things in English. God. Some other scholars at the time suspected Galileo was the author of the work when it was published, although it was attributed to the pseudonym Alimberto Mari. At the time, writing under a pseudonym was common practice to avoid controversy. Galileo is known to have published under other aliases, but his authorship of the astronomical considerations had not been confirmed until now. They said it's a full treatise, and it's written by one of the most brilliant minds of Western science, said Matteo Cosci, a researcher in the Department of Philosophy and Cultural Heritage in Venice, who made the latest discovery. The treatise was published just a few years before Galileo's famous work, The Starry Messenger, which in 1610 described his breakthrough observations of Earth's moon and 4 of Jupiter's moons through the first astronomical telescope on record. You may consider it as a prequel to Starry Messenger, which was the no-turning-back work that changed the history of astronomy and science in general. For historians of philosophy, this is a treasure trove. The discovery that Galileo authored, this latest discovery, is tied to the finding earlier this year that a manuscript attributed to Galileo in the Library of University of Michigan was actually a forgery. As we reported months ago, the watermarks in the paper of the handwritten manuscript showed it must have been written more than 100 years after Galileo had passed away in 1642, making the document a fake, clearly. It's probably created by the prolific Italian forger Toby Nicotra sometime in the 1920s or the 1930s. An investigation by the university found the manuscript was acquired at an auction in 1934 and was donated to the university in 1938. The same investigation also found that two letters used to authenticate the manuscript were also forgeries. Again, probably by Nicotra, and because one of the letters also asserted Galileo had written the astronomical considerations, that attribution was also suspect. Galileo never admitted to writing this until now. The only evidence was the forged letter. But earlier this year, Cauchy discovered an unpublished note authentically written by Galileo in a library in Florence, in which the astronomer listed several places where the Italian scholar Ludovico della Colomba had attacked his ideas. Among these, Galileo noted that Del Colombo had criticized astronomical considerations, showing that Galileo felt personally attacked whenever Alberto Mari was criticized in print. Galileo wrote in his private note that he was speaking of me with contempt. He was recognizing himself as Mari, of course. This is very sleuth heavy work, a lot of detective work here. Cauchy said that Del Colombo had published a treatise arguing that the new star seen in 1604, actually a supernova, was not new at all, but rather permanent and only occasionally visible. Those ideas match the prevailing Aristotelian theories embodied in Ptolemy's geocentric model of the solar system, which stated, incorrectly of course, that the sun, planets, and stars were fixed and unchanging, and that they orbited Earth. Galileo, writing pseudonymously as Alberto Mari, proposed that the new star was actually new and suggested mechanisms that could have created it, a challenge to Aristotelian view. He also introduced several other radical ideas for the time, such as that the moon might have mountains. Safer to use a pseudonym because if things don't fly right, then you don't get blamed, said Peter Barker, a professor of the history of science at the University of Oklahoma. But if it does fly, you can then say, it was me all along. So Galileo had a lot of great ideas, but was clearly self-conscious about it. Though this was back in a day where they probably would have cut your head off for being a witch or something. I don't know. What else is going on here? Weather forced the delay for NASA astronauts returning from the space station on a SpaceX capsule. They were supposed to come back tomorrow, or yesterday, rather. 4 astronauts were scheduled to return home from the International Space Station this week, capping off a nearly 6-month mission in space. Weather forced the delay. The astronauts, NASA's Kel Lindgren, Bob Hines, Jessica Watkins, as well as Italian astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti, with the European Space Agency, were scheduled to depart from the space station yesterday morning. But NASA was forced to wave off the departure because of the unfavorable weather conditions back here on planet Earth. But now, NASA and SpaceX have a target of 11:35 this morning, Eastern Time, of course, for the Crew Dragon's departure and splashdown off the coast of Florida. It occurred just a few hours around 4:50 p.m. Eastern today, according to a NASA press release. Weather forcing delays of the spacecraft launching or returning from the ISS are extremely common, especially as unpredictable storms batter the splashdown sites off the coast of Florida. Our coast. NASA said that mission teams continue to monitor a cold front passing through Florida yesterday and today, bringing high winds and rainy weather near the splashdown zones. Current weather predictions are showing greater forecast certainty for today due to a high-pressure system behind the cold front, which is expected to bring more favorable conditions to the splashdown and recovery. Ground crews are expected to review the weather today for that 11:35 departure. The Crew Dragon spacecraft that'll bring the astronauts home typically has 7 potential landing zones just off the coast of Pensacola, Tampa, Tallahassee, Panama City, Cape Canaveral, Daytona, and Jacksonville. Not clear which splashdown site NASA and SpaceX are targeting for Friday. Well, I guess we'll find out. The mission called Crew 4 has marked a historic first on the ISS as Jessica Watkins became the first black woman to join the space station crew for an extended stay. More than a dozen black Americans, including 5 black women, have traveled to space since Bluford became the first to do so back in 1983. The ISS has hosted more than 250 astronauts since 2000, but no black woman has previously had the opportunity to live and work in space for an extended period until now. Aerospace company SpaceX developed the Crew Dragon spacecraft under a $2.6 billion contract with NASA as part of the Commercial Crew Program. The idea behind the program was to move NASA into a customer role, allowing private companies to design, build, and test new spacecraft to serve NASA astronauts while still giving the company ownership over the vehicle. For nearly a decade after the retirement of NASA's Space Shuttle program back in 2011, I got to see that final launch. That was great. The United States had to rely on purchasing seats on Russian spacecraft to get its astronauts to and from the ISS. SpaceX renewed orbital human spaceflight capabilities, depending on how much coffee you had to drink this morning, from U.S. soil in 2020. The launch of its Demo 2 mission, which carried 2 NASA astronauts to the space station. Crew 4 is the 5th spaceflight from SpaceX that they've carried out as part of its NASA partnership, and the space agency has continued purchasing additional flights from the company, led by, of course, founder and CEO Elon Musk. The Crew 4 astronauts' return to Earth comes less than a week after the Crew 5 astronauts arrived on a separate SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. 2 mission teams have spent the last few days in a brief handoff period to ensure smooth transition between the crews. Officials at NASA have continued to extend the agency's partnership with SpaceX, growing the value of their overall deal to encompass 15 total crew missions at a value of more than $4.9 billion. Since SpaceX developed the Crew Dragon under a fixed-price commercial contract, however, it retains ownership over the vehicle. It means the privately held company also has the ability to sell seats to whomever it wishes. And they've already conducted 2 Crew Dragon missions funded entirely by wealthy thrill seekers. There are future private missions in the works. So we wish those astronauts a safe trip home and look forward to their arrival. How about that? I'm going to take one more quick music break, and then we'll come back with our celebrity birthdays and our top 10 list. And then I got some shameless plugs and a little cap of the weekend, or an outlook on the weekend. So you're listening to Jams and Coffee here in the morning. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be right back. Here's one from the Shake.
Boys and girls of all ages, step right up and experience one of the most thrilling and thought-provoking rides you've ever seen. With the highest highs and the lowest lows, this excursion will leave you wanting so much more from life. So sit back, settle in, and enjoy a roller coaster of human emotion. And don't forget to stop by the gift shop on your way out.
20 minutes is not a long way. When you're by yourself, baby, it feels like an eternity. So watch you sit and watch the world go by. Oh, I. single rider life. That single rider life. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Guess I'll be fine. Guess I'll be okay. I'll wait in line by myself all day. I guess I'll sit and watch the people go by. Oh, I. 'Cause 20 minutes is not a long way. And when you're by yourself, baby, it feels like an eternity. So I'll just sit and watch the world go by. Oh, I. Never more alone than I am right now. I'm in a crowd, but no one I know around. They say love is a roller coaster, they're right. I'm just tired of living that single rider life. That single rider life. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Maybe one day we'll find express tickets with our name on it. Maybe one day we will ride. Split a turbo and a hot dog with some mustard on it. Holding hands while parades go by. Never more alone than I am right now. I'm in a crowd, but no one I know's around. They say love is a roller coaster, they're right. I'm just tired of living that single rider life. Never more alone than I am right now. I'm in a crowd, but no one I know's around. They say love is a roller coaster, they're right. I'm just tired of living that single rider life. That single rider life. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right.
All right, that's the Shake with Roller Coaster. And thank you for sticking around with me here on Jams and Coffee in the Morning. Just a couple more things to get through here before I send you on your way and get you into your weekend. Of course, we have some celebrity birthdays. Just a few today. R&B singer Usher is turning 44 years old today. Usher, or whatever you want to call him. He rose to fame after releasing his 6 times platinum-selling album, My Way, and his 2004 album, Confessions, became the fastest-selling R&B album in history. A force to be reckoned with, and an actor to boot. Usher turning 44 years old today. Turning 55 this fine October day. ESPN personality, well known, of course, for his outspoken nature, Stephen A. Smith. Celebrating his birthday today. He's hosted for ESPN Radio and ESPN's Quite Frankly. Happy birthday, Steve Smith. And our rounding out our older side of the birthdays today, turning 83 years old today, Ralph Lauren. Turning 83, of course, the designer of Polo fashions, fragrances, and accessories. Forbes estimated he was worth $7.5 billion in 2012, making him the 162nd richest person in the world. Ralph Lauren, 83 years old today. The weekend outlook for me, if you want to find me out in the world and give me a high five or have a beer with me, that would be awesome. Tonight, I'll be performing at the Island Beach Bar at Ocean Village in Fort Pierce, right out on the island, right down by the beach, boy. I'll be there from 6 to 9 o'clock this evening. Jordan's little sister, Savannah, will be bartending, slinging drinks while I give you the jam, so it's a family affair. So come and hang out with us tonight, 6 o'clock at the Island Beach Bar at Ocean Village. Tomorrow night, I'll be at Collab Kitchen in Stewart at 5 o'clock. A really, really cool place to hang out. interesting signature cocktails, and the food is on another planet. Jordan and I were hanging out with the Joe Tierney, Sweet Butter Joe, and we got to sample some of the goods there at Collab Kitchen, and they do a bang-up job. Their smoker is right out there on the patio, so like you just smell this wonderful smoking barbecue the whole time. It's delicious. So I'll be there 5 o'clock tomorrow till around 8 o'clock-ish. And then Sunday, I'm at home base at the Sneaky Tiki in downtown Stewart at 2 o'clock. And I'll be there for Sunday Fun Day all afternoon there. Next week on the podcast, we just solidified it yesterday on the Jams and Cocktails podcast, we'll be joined by award-winning trop rock artist John McDonald. And, of course, our very good friend and owner of the Code Rum Company, Johnny Ringo, will be in the studio with us. Jordan has the week off, so she won't be here, but we'll have these two chuckleheads to keep us all company. We're going to be talking about the Pirates in Paradise, or the Party in Paradise cruise that Johnny Ringo and the boys have all been putting together. And John McDonald is going to be premiering a brand new video for his song called Code Rum. So we get the official premiere of that music video. So that's next Wednesday night on the Jams and Cocktails podcast. Very excited to have John back in the studio with us. So be sure to check that out. We got a top 10 list in keeping with the spooky season. I picked another good topic here. So there's really no way to handle a UFO or alien encounter. Most of us probably have never and never will experience such an event. You know, when it comes to bizarre encounters, there are not too many that can compare to it. Obviously, the Roswell crash is at the top. Bigfoot, not so much. Megalodon, no way. Well, with so many stories going around, it's hard to differentiate between what's real and what's a hoax. Stories of being medically experimented on, being tied down on an alien craft, or being taken without knowledge are some of the encounters we hear about often. The 10 women listed in this list did just that, except their encounters didn't turn out bad. No, their encounters were frightening for sure, but they seemed to end rather calmly. Weird, right? It was almost like having a nightmare. Scary while you're in it, but it's fine when you wake up. Whether you believe it or not, these encounters are their truth. And today's weekending spooky JNC Top 10. Let's do it. All right. The number 10 on our list, the very first one, is Sharon Gilbert. An author, reporter, and co-host on Skywatch TV, geopolitics enthusiast, and Christian podcaster, Sharon Gilbert takes on many roles daily. On the Jim Baker Show, she discussed her alien encounter. What makes Sharon's story interesting is that I gotta make the font a little bigger. What makes Sharon's story interesting is that it's the opposite of the typical alien encounter. Most alien encounters start with witnessing the spacecraft before seeing the aliens. However, there were no indications or warnings for Sharon. No. Her encounter began as a frightening confrontation. While lying in bed, an alien visited her in the form of her husband. Her husband was lying in bed, and something disguised as him lifted out of his body. She insisted the creature wanted to have sex with her. Communication between the two was internal. Before she pulled the mask off, she told the creature Jesus is real. She revealed that it looked like a gargoyle with reptilian features. However, Gilbert never revealed how the creature left the room, if it wasn't worth mentioning and probably wasn't an issue. A lot of responses to her encounter were negative once it circulated on the internet, but Sharon was unbothered by what other people thought about her experience. There you go. Number 9 on this list An educator, entrepreneur, and South Florida community activist, Bettina Rodriguez Aguilera, has always connected with a diverse group of people. She even ran for the Republican primary election to represent Florida's 27th congressional district. With so much support from the people, some questioned if the interview she gave in 2009 about an alien encounter risked her election. But regardless, Rodriguez Aguilera never regretted or changed what occurred during that encounter. She claimed that at 7 years old, she was taken aboard a round spaceship. She recalled interacting with tall, blonde aliens, 2 women and a man. She never mentioned any aggression from the aliens or being experimented on. Instead, the aliens provided her with information. She mentioned that they explained to her that the center of energy is in Africa, and God is a universal energy, not a person. Seems legit. Philip said, Pam, did you change the names to protect us? Pam, are you on this list? Am I going to find your story on here? Quite possibly. Number 7 here. Angelia Schultz, who now goes by the name Anya Holly. She ran as a Democrat candidate for South Dakota Senate and Secretary of State back in 2014. Years later, she mentioned that she was a retired defense intelligence official. On August 17th, 2021, Angelia talked about her alien encounter at a press conference in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. She mentioned meeting a couple at a Southern California coffee shop who eventually showed her the location of an alien base. It's amazing what you learn at a local coffee shop in Southern California. She didn't reveal exactly where in the Mojave Desert she went in January of 2010, but she said that the man she met had excavated a tunnel on the side of a mountain. She said a bright light guided them to the secret alien base. She remembered seeing aliens with lavender skin and one that looked like a praying mantis. The conversations with the aliens were through telepathy. During her press conference, she stated that she planned to go back with other individuals, and as of today, there's still no confirmation if she went back to the base. Crazy. Lavender skin. Sounds lovely. Number 6 on our list. Have we really gone through that many already? I think I missed a couple here. I missed number 8. All right, so that was number 7, you guys. We're gonna go back up to number 8. Felt like it was a little light. I told you today was it's been a rough start. Alex Dietrich is the next person on our list here. He said, I hope I'm not the UFO tic-tac person for the rest of my life. This is not what I envisioned for myself. According to Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, he was quoted saying after talking about her UFO encounter on 60 Minutes, in November 2004, Dietrich observed a UFO hovering over the ocean while training with colleagues. The UFO moved at speeds beyond anything she'd ever seen before. She never claimed to see an alien or give any indication of what she thought it was, just simply an unidentified tic-tac-shaped object. Nothing less, nothing more. Dietrich never mentioned having an interest in UFOs and didn't entertain the idea or thought of it being more than what she saw. For the disbelievers, after hearing about a retired pilot's UFO encounter, do you believe it even more? I don't know. Who knows what it was? Now, finally, number 6 on our list. Dale Snipes, the author of 78 Years of UFOs, has experienced alien encounters since she was a child. The most terrifying encounter was at 3 a.m. when an alien tried to take her against her will. On the show UFO Witness, she told investigators that she woke up to a strange sound coming from the kitchen. Soon after, an alien appeared in her room and communicated with her telepathically. She mentioned that the alien believed to be a star person, wanted to show her something, and asked if she would come with it. It wasn't clear what the alien's intentions were, but during the encounter, she recalled trying to wake her husband up many times. She said even when she dug her nails into his arm, he still didn't respond, and eventually the alien did leave. The next morning, her husband showed his arm covered with bloody scratches. Crazy. Paul joining us from the Drums and Rums podcast. Nice to have you back, buddy. So there's a new app idea, Tic Tac TikTok, where you post your alien encounters while twerking. I think it's a winner. Oh, no, number 5 on our list here. Full of emotions and terror, a UFO encounter at Alaska Pacific University left Shell Marie with 30 years of traumatic memory loss. On the Aliens in Alaska show, Shell allowed cameras inside her hypnotherapy session. During the session, Shell started by saying she went outside to smoke a cigarette. First mistake. She remembers randomly looking up at the sky and noticing a large black object covered with lights in an unfamiliar language written on the craft. She mentioned she would have never known it was above her if she hadn't looked up. Well, isn't that something? Quite an interesting observation there. That's it. That's the whole story. Somehow she lost 30 years of memory loss. Or memories. Number 4 on our UFO list here. One too many times, Geraldine Orozco would become pregnant and then have a miscarriage weeks later. Each time, there was never a fetus found. The cause remained a mystery even when seeking medical advice. And that was until she was taken into an alien spacecraft back in October of 2013. She recalled her body feeling paralyzed as she was surrounded by tall gray beings. In the craft, she mentioned seeing her children. She remembers noticing that they were part human, mutated with alien DNA. And ever since the incident, she started a support group for other women who experienced having their babies stolen from the wombs for experiments. Spooky and invasive. These aliens. Number 3 on our list. Most things are kept quiet at Jicarilla Apache Reservation in New Mexico. That was until Geraldine Julian talked about her encounter on UFO Witness. Rather than referring to them as extraterrestrials or aliens, Jerry referred to them as disturbed people. That's new. The first encounter she remembered was when she was sitting outside and saw a craft fly by from behind a mountain. She said the craft descended from the sky to approach where she was sitting, and later that night, 2 small people tried to force her out of bed. She recalled she couldn't scream or do anything, and eventually the disturbed people left her alone. You got to come up with a better solution, man. They need to talk to the guy with the candy in the van. You guys want some candy? It'd probably be that easy. Oh, Brad, you wanna have some cocktails on my spaceship? Fuck yeah, let's do it. It would be that easy. Alien cocktails. Jane Nelms comes in at number 2 on our list, and she's no stranger to having alien encounters. She told her encounters to KLTV 7 News. In 1973, she mentioned being abducted by 5 aliens. Then in the 1980s, she mentioned one day being pregnant. And after a horrible night, she woke up no longer pregnant. Years later, she and a UFO group gathered in Winsboro, Texas. She remembered seeing a bright light glaring through every window in the house. She also heard there was a gray alien outside. By the time she went outside to investigate further, she had heard branches snapping and noise coming from the ship ascending into the air. Paul said, hey, don't you have a van? We don't talk about what I do on my van on my own time. Probably candy in there. Never know. I would never give it to children. It's much too good for children. And number one on our spooky alien list, not so spooky perhaps, more tic-tacky, I suppose. Maybe you've heard of her, or maybe you haven't, but unlike most, Lily Nova's alien encounters didn't start as a child. Her encounters didn't even start with her searching for aliens. The COVID-19 pandemic in Missouri shifted her interest into astrophotography, which led to her alien encounters. Her first encounter started in November of 2020. She mentioned seeing a couple of crafts flying over the neighborhood. The more time she spent outside, the more frequent the encounters became. She stated seeing different aliens. The one she remembered seeing the most had a blue complexion, and she saw some with glowing skin and blonde hair. And rather than having physical encounters, the aliens sent many images of themselves through telepathy. There you go. That's the top 10. I feel like I should have had to proofread that once over. That was a less than interesting. And don't get me wrong, like I enjoy like alien abduction stories. I think they're fascinating. You know, and you know, I would never look somebody in the face and tell them that their truth is a lie. You know, time will tell, and it's something they're going to have to live with. But this was a hard list to get through with a straight face. Paul said they don't put their images on Instagram like everyone else. You know, I don't know. Aliengram. Interstellargram. I don't know. We'll come up with something for them. Yeah, it's amazing. It's not unfathomable that creatures communicate telepathically. It seems so blissful. You know, obviously what I'm doing here would be affected by that form of communication. Nobody would want to hear me run my mouth anymore. Aliengram, that's the one. I got some shameless plugs for you, and then I'm going to get you on your way to get your weekend started. Of course, I appreciate you tuning in wherever you're watching. If you would be so kind as to go over to the YouTube channel, Jams and Cocktails Podcast Network, and give us a subscribe there. That would be wonderful. But wherever you're watching, like and follow us, and join us each weekday morning for Jams and Coffee. Check out Paul's podcast, the Drums and Rums podcast. Great content. He's tuning in tonight. It's been a while since we had you here, Paul. Great to see you. We had a lovely conversation last night after his biggest happy hour and a half hour live stream that happens on Thursday nights. It was nice to see that again. So cool things in the works as always with Paul, and glad to have you back, buddy. Go check out all the stuff that he's got going on there. Check out the Jams and Cocktails podcast. We mentioned this week we have John McDonald, Drop Rock Extraordinaire, and Johnny Ringo from Code Rum joining me in the studio on Wednesday night. Talk about some really fun stuff that we got going on. Come and see me tonight at the Island Beach Bar in Fort Pierce at Ocean Village, 6 o'clock. Always a good time. Check out JNC Radio. You can find that at jncpodcast.com. Listen to great music all day. Listen to these shows weekday mornings, and listen to the podcast on Wednesday nights. You can also get the Live365 app completely free from your favorite app store. Nothing to sign up for. You literally just download it, open it, search for JNC Radio, and you're off to the races. No putting in any of your information. It doesn't matter. So check that out. Add us to your favorites and enjoy some tunage. Check out our friends, of course, at Code Rum, Hop Life Brewing, great beers. The Sneaky Tiki, which I'll be at on Sunday. Great supporters of all the things that we do here. And, of course, Paul at the Drums and Rums podcast. Check out his offerings as well. Please support those who support us. And support local whenever you can. Even if you're not local, you can support our local people. Be sure, if you've not, to check out our this past Wednesday's podcast with Mike LeBeck. A great show, a very interesting story. And Mike had to give us a lot of cool stuff that he's been involved with over the years, and we're happy to have him here from Chicago on the Treasure Coast now, rocking all around the area. So check out our latest episode there, Leave It to LeBeck. That's available anywhere you listen to podcasts, and, of course, on our YouTube channel to watch in all of its glory. And that's it. I think that's it. I appreciate you guys tuning in with this morning and this week. It's been wonderful. Always a good time. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. I'll see you back here on Monday morning. Broadcasting live from the legendary JNC Lounge. I'm Brad Brock. Cheers, you guys. Bye.
Tune in again tomorrow morning for the latest local buzz, national headlines, music news, and more on JNC in the Morning, right here on Facebook and YouTube.